fixed to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day.
The goods from the wood.
Hot damn.
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
This is a good night, man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
And Dr. Pat's out on assignment, but joining us today, finally returning after damn near 3 years. One of my favorite people in Los Angeles. Everybody, this is
Travis Clark.
Yeah, man. Finally a non-holiday ep. We had you for the Halloween episode in 2013.
Is that how long ago it was?
Yeah, dude.
One of the early episodes, and still one of my all-time favorites.
Episode 6, featuring the notorious Halloween farts section. So if you want to go back in the archives, episode 6, even though I know it's we're coming up on summer, man, that Halloween episode is pretty damn funny.
It's a good time too. I can't believe it's been that long. Like honestly, I was like, it's probably been like a year maybe since we got together and talked.
Yeah, man.
Holy shit.
It's been so long. So I'm fucking stoked to
well, it's because I live my life like it's Halloween all the time. That's really, I think, why I didn't feel like it was that long ago.
That's why we call you the Danzig of LA comedy.
I don't know, it's because I just seemed like I owned a lot of cats.
And bats.
Well, there is one difference, though, between Travis and Danzig, and Pat is not here, so we know Pat stalks Glenn Danzig.
That's right,
so
yeah.
This is definitely different.
I had a friend who said he used to see Danzig around all the time, and I was like, can you tell me a Danzig story? And he was like, he gets really mad if they don't have the white chocolate raspberry scones at the local bakery, which is like the most un-Danzig thing you can imagine.
Oh
like
my
he
God.
comes in and is like, do you have the raspberry scones?
Fuck. I wish Dr. Pat was here. He saw him at the Trader Joe's and he was waiting for samples. He was fucking.
Is this a thing that people do where they just follow Danzig around stores and supermarkets and shit?
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, apparently he's just he just wanders around East Hollywood just looking for a handout.
Sure. I mean, look, he's earned it. You know, I mean, he's put the time in.
Maybe he saves money too, because you can really fill up on samples.
You sure can.
Like
Yeah.
To borrow a term from your good friend Greg Barrett, he is a hobo tang.
He sure is.
Yeah. He probably eats oranges off of other people's trees and shit.
Right.
Just getting handouts wherever he can.
And drinks that Trader Joe's coffee by the thimbleful. You know, just until you can have no more.
Hit me again. I'll take another vegan burrito there.
Do you have the scones? It's not Danzig's day.
Oh man, that's
You should go to the Costco more often because you can live off that shit.
oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, Danzig, if you're listening, and I know he listens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You need to start your own club membership. You need to start like the Danzig Costco, or, whatever, some kind of like evil
Dan's Club.
Yeah, Dan's Club. everything is 666.
Evil wholesale store.
How do we pass the evil on to you? By volume.
By the pallet full.
You'll need our evil wholesale.
You'll need a forklift to get this evil to your car. Dan's Club.
We want your skulls and your membership here at Dan's Club.
Oh man, I was just I went to Sam's Club to get my tires fixed, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, our gun doesn't work." To take the tires off the thing. No, they're machine guns they keep there work just fine. And
that's how you keep the non-members out, just fully armed.
Yeah.
Hell, man, if they sell machine guns at Costco, I'm getting a membership. Because that's a hell of a lot better than the hot dogs and things like that.
Hot dogs are cheap, though.
Yeah, they are cheap.
But
I just wanted one AK-47s, but they came in a 9 bundle, so I just got them all.
a bouquet of assault rifles. Now, I was there to get tires, and I was ready to just accept, no for an answer. And the guy who was standing in line behind me was just like, He's like, I'll take off the tires myself. and the guy goes, well, sir, that's our policy. We can't manually take the tires off because they might not be tight enough. He's like, they'll be tight enough when I do it. You won't be able to undo what I do. I promise you, when you get that gun working, you won't be able to take my tires off. And he was just screaming at this guy. And then finally, he had the best line as he walked away. He goes, he was like, sir, well, we can't do it without our gun. And he goes, I'm not here for your gun. I'm here for your prices.
That really should be their
tagline.
I'm not here for your gun.
I'm here for your prices.
Yeah. So
that man, Daniel Torque was his name.
Yeah.
He was really, really good with the wrench.
Yep. That's what I mean.
What did you get your car fixed, though, Rivers?
Well, I took it to I took it to a competitor across the street.
And they had the gun.
They had the gun.
You came for their gun.
I came for the gun, not the prices. Yeah. So
No gun, no deal, man.
I tell you what, man, I don't like to brag, but I used to work at Costco many years
Oh, really?
ago. Yeah.
No shit. The one here?
Yeah, in Van Nuys.
Okay.
And it was so long ago that there was no scanning of items. My job was to scan the items with my eyes and say the number to the cashier who had to type it in.
Whoa.
That was my job.
Wow.
Yeah. And
so you were replaced with a computer.
we were
A
called
computer took your place,
Like your
Daddy.
place, Dad.
You know how it works.
That's hard times.
That's our time.
Me and the auto worker. Same story.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
We were called callers, and you had to memorize numbers because sometimes people would bring up shit that didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And I had one number memorized that was a Suzuki motorcycle that no one sold anymore, that wasn't in the store anymore. So if someone ever went to, hey, what's the number on these eggs? I'd go, 47425, and they'd put it in, and then like $7,000 would come up, and then the customers would be like, I don't want these fucking eggs. No, get them out of here. But I bring it up because the tire section was a section with a lot of intrigue and drama.
Oh, I
when I
bet.
worked there. One of the managers of the tire center had an affair with a cashier while I was working there. So that was like his marriage fell apart. On top of that, he would like lock up at night, but like shove tires underneath the door and like sell them. He'd steal tires and then sell them in the parking lot.
He was fencing tires.
Yeah, he was fencing tires.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think you should go to your local Sam's Club or Costco because
Just interview him.
go for the stories. That's
yeah.
really why people go. Yeah.
The soap opera that
Hey,
is
I'm not here for the
Costco.
gun or the prices. I'm here for the weird story.
I'm here for the intrigue.
I'm here for the intrigue.
I had no idea it was so Byzantine working
Yeah.
at Costco, but the story
As the discount warehouse turns, as they say. Yeah.
Did y'all have the part with the hot dogs and things on the inside or the outside?
They had their own like little hut on the way out past the cashier thing.
All right, have y'all ever noticed this? Like the ones in Georgia and things at Costco, you always eat the hot dogs and things. It's on the inside.
Yeah.
But in California, the food is always on the outside of the Costco.
It's because the food area you can go even if you're not a member.
I can go get a $1 pizza even if I'm not a member.
Yeah, so that's why they put it on the outside because they don't want a bunch of dirty non-members coming inside.
There was
looking around, poking at stuff, getting their grubby fingerprints on the window.
I think it was late 2014. Every day, me and neighbor Frank and John Faso would get together, change, and we would eat Costco every day.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one in near El Segundo.
Yeah, those hot dogs, man. Those are not bad.
I was when I worked there, I had the pizza every day for lunch because
Yeah.
it was like they paid you okay. I was like in high school,
Right.
But it was like, well, if I only spend $1 on lunch, that's more money for me.
Yeah,
so you just
yeah.
would eat that pizza all the time.
Who knew there was so much to Costco
Yeah, I know. I'm a-
and Dan's Club?
and Dan's Club. Well, I'm a Sam's Club member specifically because of something that happened on this podcast. Somebody sent us an article about Guy Fieri had a pizza called a S'mores Indoors pizza.
What?
That they, for some reason, put cayenne pepper on the pizza. Like there was a fuck up at the factory.
So you're getting a s'mores with cayenne on it.
A s'mores pizza that's incredibly hot, and it was only available at Sam's Club. And here's the thing, like this person sent me this article. We did a whole episode about it with our friend Eric Moore. The episode's called S'mores Indoors. You can find that in the archives. But I was so intrigued by this article. I was like, well, I got to go get this pizza, not looking at the date, which was the article was from like 2014. So I went, signed up for a Sam's Club membership specifically to get this pizza so we could eat it on this podcast and make fun of it. And then I get to the back and of course it's long gone. It was taken off the shelves like immediately because it was a fuck up. Like there wasn't supposed to be.
But sweet and heat can go together. You could have a spicy chocolate. I think it could work.
Well, I don't think, did it have the chocolate or was it just graham cracker and jalapeno?
Yeah, no, no, it had
Mr. Goodnight, America's Next Top Chef over here.
No, it had like it was a s'mores pizza, but then it just had an ungodly amount of cayenne pepper on it.
Oh, time out. Did it just have pizza on it, like cheese and sauce and things?
No, it was a s'mores pizza, so it was graham cracker crust with like chocolate and marshmallows on top.
That's a fucking pie.
Right.
It's not a pizza.
Yeah.
Well, tell that to Guy. Take that up with Mr. Fieri.
Have you realized that Food Network's programming is 90% Guy Fieri just eating things and yelling about it?
Oh yeah.
Except eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he not an egg man?
Anybody that's ever taken a trip to Flavortown knows I am not an egg guy.
That's like an actual quote. I was like, oh, what the fuck? My favorite thing about watching it, because they've just put season like 1 through like 5 or whatever of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives on.
The Triple D.
They've put it on Netflix. And my favorite thing about it is like that show started in probably 2005, 2006. And so the first couple of seasons are just randomly graced by the presence of Oscar winner Matthew McConaughey.
What?
Yeah, during his like pre-McConaissance when he was stuck in like straight to DVD romantic comedy zone.
The failure to launch era.
Yeah,
sure.
He would just show up like anytime Guy was in Texas. He's like, I'm hanging out with my buddy Matthew McConaughey, and he's just there.
That's a good guy, by the way. That's a top level guy that you have right there.
Well, maybe he wants free food or something. They probably feed him for free
No,
on the
literally,
show.
that's what it is. He doesn't do anything. They're not talking about his career. He's just an extra guy. Like,
Yeah, his career was stuck then.
Yeah.
So he needed
was a-
free food really bad.
He didn't have any of that Lincoln money.
no,
he didn't
it was a total. I mean, everybody thought
He didn't get AIDS yet.
Yeah, every.
And that could be a good
Film
career
AIDS.
decision.
Yeah,
You ain't
Yeah.
shit until you've got AIDS in this
Yeah.
town, buddy.
Look, we work for Tom Hanks.
Talking Hanks.
Until
We're
you've
talking-
had your T cells fail on celluloid, you ain't shitting in fucking Hollywood.
But he was. He'll just show up. You know, he's like.
Did they play bongos?
No, they just like eat burritos and shit. He's just in the kitchen.
There was a period of time where Matthew McConaughey would end up on late night TV shows where it was clearly somebody canceled and they got him.
Yeah,
And he'd come
That's
on.
why he's in Tropic Thunder.
Right. But
Because Owen Wilson tried to kill himself.
that's amazing.
That's literally why. And they were just like, McConaughey?
yeah, I mean, Drill Bit Taylor was tough to
He's
get over.
Hollywood's
Yeah,
understudy.
he was for a while.
But he'd show up on shows like, Conan and just talk about like his theories of what you would do if you got attacked by an alligator.
Yeah.
Like he had no movie to promote.
First of all, going into it, if you're in the water, which is where crocodiles are going to come from usually, you're already on their playing field, so you're already bogeying on the way in. Right?
Once you're in the water with a croc, it's
You're in
trouble.
their playing
Right.
field. Now, what they want to do is take you down to the bottom, spin you around quite a few times, hang on to a root, and drown you. Then they come in up to land after you're drowned, and they have lunch.
Right.
He was just like, here's what you would do. You got to reach in there and you got to squeeze its heart through its mouth. You're going to lose an arm.
He's going to be dead. I won't have this arm. But I'll be alive, and he'll be...
Worst idea I've ever heard.
He had these theories about how to survive wild animal attacks, and it's all he talk about.
That's like the kind of period in your career you'd really should. I mean, I'm glad he's doing True Detective and all the cool stuff he's doing
Sure.
now. But man, what a great time where you just have an ungodly amount of money and you can just kind of fuck around.
Sure.
It's like, yeah,
and get in
I'll
trouble
go.
for playing bongos in the nude on your compound in Austin or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, I'll go hang out with Guy.
Well, not if he's naked all the time.
Yeah,
I'm not doing no naked bongo session with Matthew McConaughey.
me and Guy going to eat some ghost pepper wings.
They gotta need him naked too. It's like he's seen Guy Fieri naked.
Matt, what kind of chicken do you prefer? Do you like for the white meat or the dark meat? All white, all white, all white.
Tires are the things things on your car that make contact with the road. The tires are the things on your car that make contact with the road. The tires are the things on your car that make contact with the road. The car is the thing on the road that takes you back to your abode.
Did I tell you guys about Jury Duty?
Is that a movie?
No.
Was Matthew McConaughey in it?
Yeah.
No,
Matthew McConaughey's found 12 women, and he can't figure out which one to date.
We'll begin the jury selection.
I'm out of order here.
Oh, I'm out of order. Oh, cause to dismiss to my chambers. No, I had to do jury duty last week, and I was there for 4 fucking days before they let me go immediately. I talked to my buddy who is a third-year law school student back in Alabama, and I was like, hey, man, what is like the best way to get out of this without perjuring myself on the witness stand? And he goes, honestly, you could just kind of be you. He didn't say it that directly, but he was like, listen, anybody with a personality, they fucking hate because they think that you're gonna like 12 Angry Men a bunch of people into your way of thinking. And so without saying it, he was just kind of like, he was just like, yeah, just kind of get up there like you're on stage and they'll pretty much let you go. And I think in any other city, they would just, you know, like on day one, they were like, do you have a financial reason why you can't be here? And I raised my hand. I was like, yeah, I don't have any money. I would like to have some more money. So I can't really do this. And the judge goes, well, I see on the sheet here that you asked to postpone this twice already. So don't you think it's time to pay the piper? I was like,
pay him with what?
Right, yeah, with my time, I guess. And I just said, if that's what you guys want. And she was like, okay. And they just made me sit. So I think any other place, you know, they like if this was still Alabama or whatever, they would be like, okay, yeah, you can go. You're a poor piece of shit. We don't want you here. But in LA, it's like, yeah, everybody here has a horrible story.
Yeah,
so sit
no
down.
one here has a job.
Yeah.
Jury duty is most people's job.
Well, the funny part was the judge when she's like, yeah, I don't know what it is, but the past like 6 months or so, we've just had all these young people on the jury and nobody's showing up on time. I'm like, yeah, it's because we all registered to vote because we were fucking terrified in November. Yeah, of course.
And you got jury duty. Congratulations.
Immediately. Yeah. I was like,
you should have called your lawyer friend before you went in, by the way, Rivers. It would have saved you at least 3 days.
Oh, no, I did call him. No, I didn't
just get away right away.
No, that's the thing. I was
just telling you I have an alien abduction scheduled for tomorrow.
Well, no,
or
that's
like that.
That's the thing. That's why it was fucked, right? Because
or just shout fry them and they'll let you go.
Well, they at the beginning they ask if anybody has a financial reason why they can't be there, and then if you get out at that point, you get out. But then you have to sit there in the jury pool and basically like wait and try to figure out, you know, if they want you.
And in Hollywood, it's a real pool. People don't know that it's an actual body of water that we all just swim in.
No, they make you sit in the jury pool and they interview each person. There's like 70 people. This was like for a murder trial. And there was
you got the
real deal.
Got the choice cut.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
You
like
could have been the 12th Angry Man, Rivers.
Yeah, but it wasn't a fun murder. It was like a DUI.
Fun murder.
It wasn't like OJ or nothing. Like it was like a DUI hit and run. I was like, come on.
And if you're gonna do something right, do it on purpose.
Yeah.
And so
your weapon was a car. Try harder.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
They had everybody sitting there, and then they just interviewed. I had to sit there and watch 70 people
answer the same questions.
And then the judge like was getting fun with it and was like interviewing them about their lives and shit. And
like the guy on Match Game.
Dude, it was like Jeopardy. It was like my least favorite part of Jeopardy for 4 days. Like, oh, so I see here that you're going to school. What are you?
Oh, yes.
Studying
Alex, I do go to school, and I've studied murder.
Yeah.
Damn, that'll come in handy on a jury.
I had jury duty not that long ago, and I can tell you the best way to get out. It's a little complicated, but it works 100% of the time. Go to the lunch place that the judge recommends.
Uh-huh.
Don't wear your juror badge because you're not at the courtroom anymore.
Yeah.
And then when one of the plaintiffs comes up and says, "Are you waiting in line?" They have now violated the jury.
They've talked to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
you go back and you go, well, they talked to me, so I have
Can
to.
I go?
Can I go now?
That's a smart tip you can use.
Yeah. Well, what happened with this was they interviewed like 70 fucking people. And the thing I noticed immediately is they let anybody who was a performer, like the guy who said he was an actor, guy said he was a musician, fucking gone immediately. So I was like, all right. So if they
You didn't tell me you were a comedian?
Oh, I did. Of course I did. But here's what happened. So my last name is Langley, so I should have been probably on day 2, but they fucked up my name, and my name on the thing was my middle name and my first name. So I was Andrew Rivers. So I was now in the R section.
Oh, so you weren't even really called. You could have left any time.
Well, I mean, I tried to get out of
true.
that. Yeah. But so now I'm at the end with the R's, and I have to fucking wait around and
you did this to yourself, Rivers. You could have got out of there easy.
well, when they finally got me up there, I was dismissed immediately because here's what I did. So
Were they fucking with you for 3 days?
pretty much.
That's such a like Hollywood story. It's like I waited all for my turn. I got up there and they immediately dismissed me.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a call back 3 times.
Yeah, except this time it's what I wanted, you know.
Right.
But they kept calling everybody up, and they finally get me up there, and everybody
Try again later, they said.
Yeah,
Can I get on the jury? Try later.
and everybody they'd asked the same.
The Magic 8-Ball trial.
Is that what they do, by the way? Is that what they have in their chamber back there? One of them
so,
8 balls, and that's how they decide shit?
That's how I choose to think of it.
And did they wear pants under the robe? Did you find that out?
Oh, this judge definitely was, but the prosecutor kept.
Did you peek? How do you know?
Well, because she would just put the robe on when she got to her chair.
You haven't been to Rivers' website, judicialupskirt.com?
No, but now I will. I'm going to ruin that site tonight.
But the prosecutor kept asking the same question, which was like, and basically from what I figured out, it's like a DUI hit and run, right? So they were trying to prove second degree murder, but she was trying to basically see if anybody was willing to convict without the intent to kill, right? Because it was second degree. So she kept asking everybody. She would go, okay, so this is a hypothetical. And she would say it the same way every time. She would go, okay, this is a hypothetical. You and your friend are in the backyard. Your friend puts an apple on his head and says, please shoot the apple off my head with a gun. And then you kill your friend. Okay, so even though you didn't intend to kill your friend, the behavior you guys were engaged in was so risky that is in fact murder, even though there was not an intent to kill.
That's stupid, because in the Middle Ages, they never sent people to jail for things like that. And I know they didn't have guns then, but I remember hearing once about some guys playing catch with a javelin, and the guy got off for accident.
It's also why you had like 7 kids back then. You knew you're going to lose at least 3 to apple accidents.
Yeah, to apple-related injuries.
William Tell went through so many before that last son. But he was good by the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I got up there, she asked me the question, and I'd had 3 days to fucking overthink this question.
This is amazing.
And so, first of all, when they get up there, they're like, all right, Andrew Rivers. I was like, oh, hi, good morning. How's everybody? How are you guys doing? Like I greeted everybody like I was on stage, and then I was like, by the way, it's
who's here from out of precinct? Who's
no, I was literally doing
What are you in for, sir?
Yeah. What do you I was asking the judge, what do you do for a living, ma'am? No, but
we're wearing a black dress. Who died?
It was, they kept addressing everybody as like, juror number 3, juror number 4. I was juror number 3, and they were like, all right, juror number 3. I was like, oh, hi. I just wanted to tell everybody, by the way, my name on here is Andrew Rivers. My real name's Rivers Langley. So it's good to see it. And it was everything I could do to not be like, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Rivers Langley. Check out my podcast. I wanted to just immediately start shilling to the jury.
Always be promoted.
Yeah. Oh, if I get on
should have
this,
worn a good shirt to the damn jury.
See me in the lobby. I'll have stickers and
anybody want stickers?
I have merchandise outside the courtroom.
Bring a t-shirt cannon.
sign up for my mailing list. Yeah,
just shooting t-shirts into the gallery.
Also not guilty, I guess. I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
But I got up there and the lady asked me the same question. I was like, well, I've had a lot of time to think about this. And she goes, oh yeah. I was like, yeah. So It's all depending on the circumstance whether I could convict that person or not, because you're acting as if it's like, let's say this is day one, they've never done this thing before. What if it's a circus act? They've done this trick every day for 50 years. Then it would be a freak accident because they weren't engaging in risky behavior. And in fact, I have a better scenario for you.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what if it's two boxers in the ring, all right? And one guy punches the other guy to death and the other boxer dies. No, it was that quick. I was like, the other guy dies. Were they engaged in risky behavior? Of course, they were punching each other in the head as hard as they could. But was there an intent to kill? No, that ain't murder. And then they go, cause to dismiss juror number 3. And it's like, the state would like to thank and excuse juror number 3. And I was like, peace out, motherfuckers.
Man, that's a lot of trouble just to get off jury duty, man.
Yeah, but if you go to that courthouse, Rivers' headshot is up in the corner side. It's amazing.
Yeah, I taped it on the wall.
Like those diners.
All the celebrities that have come in. Oh, look, Orson Welles had jury duty once.
My God, you're telling me Johnny Carson did jury duty here? Holy shit, the history.
Penelope, shoot the apple off my head. I need to go to the store to get some sleep because I've run out of sleep. The rowboat came, so David stopped arguing with the mime and waved his arms like wheat. But when he tried to speak, the Prince of Plum fell through the roof of his mouth and handed David an envelope.
My favorite thing, though, was like the people that they interviewed the whole time. Man, everyone has the saddest fucking stories on earth. Like, just the craziest shit.
Well, you know what they
I've ever
say?
heard.
Tell it to the judge, and they did.
Oh my God. It was like, it was free therapy for most of the people there. It was like, oh, you guys should be in therapy. Like, this is not the place to be airing these grievances.
I think that goes for a lot of things in Los Angeles.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah, anytime you go to a place and someone has to listen to you, someone's like, finally, I have someone who wants to hear the story.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's what it was. And
I've been so glad when pot's legal, so you don't have to listen to what people say when you're trying to smoke a fucking joint with people.
there was one guy who they were like, oh, okay, juror number 2, I see here you're an actor. And the judge goes, have you been in anything that I might have seen?
Oh, no.
And this motherfucker read his IMDb, like just listed his credits for like a, he's like, because
I played juror number 2, ironically.
No, get this, it's better than that.
Does that count as experience towards this position?
No, he's going down the list, right? And he goes, he's probably in his like early 60s, so he's been doing this shit a while. He kind of looked like
You've been doing jury duty a while?
No,
I never knew jury duty was such a see and be seen kind of thing.
He'd been on the court circuit for a bit.
Yeah. Well, no, he'd been an actor for a while, and he goes, oh yeah, I was on The Mentalist, Big Bang Theory, both Law and Orders, both CSIs. I've done, and he's just like listing off all the shit, and the judge stops him and goes, whoa, wait, you were on Law and Order? What did you play on Law and Order? Now, before I say this, I want you to keep in mind the victim's family is in the courtroom.
Oh no!
She goes, "What did you play on Law and Order?" And he's a bit sheepish.
No.
And he goes, "Oh well, a murderer." And the entire fucking courtroom just exploded into laughter. And I'm just like, it was the only thing I didn't like find just hilarious. Like, I was like tamping down laughter for 4 days straight about all the weird idiosyncrasies of this proceeding. Everybody was laughing. And I just like looked over and like the victim's family was just like, they were not happy. But she goes, "Oh, what episode?" Like, she wanted to know more. And
those judges have to be Law and Order heads,
dude.
Right? They just have to be.
Dude, get this. The guy goes, it was an episode called whatever, I forgot. He goes, oh, it was the episode blah blah blah. I played a man with the mind of a 10-year-old, and he becomes startled. And right when I heard that, I was like, oh, and he killed the guy, and that was the episode. He goes, no, he becomes startled, and he murdered a family of 10 with an axe.
That's really startled.
Well, that's literally. I turned to the guy next to me and just go, that's pretty fucking startled.
Yeah.
And
also, buddy, don't give away the whole plot in your log line.
Right,
okay?
right.
Leave something for the audience.
Oh no, the last tag was the best. He goes, with an axe while wearing clown makeup. I was like, wow, this guy was very startled.
Jesus. So startled. He's like, God, I'm freaked out. Where's my clown kit? I got to get my clown kit.
Where's my axe?
Where's my axe? Any families? Where's the biggest family?
Oh,
Jesus
God.
Christ.
There was that guy.
Did the judge ever go like, I know that episode? Like, was the judge?
No, she didn't know that one, but she was a big L&O fan.
This is tax money too they spend on this shit.
For 4 days we were there. Like 4 days.
What the hell is wrong with? Is this what jury duty's like everywhere?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think LA, it's probably just a much grander scale.
Although we
than
hired
everywhere
a
else.
special investigation to check into his IMDb credits because some of them might have been.
Yeah, I know.
Totally, yeah.
Can he be? Can that? Is that perjury?
Yeah. He did do some Russian TV. We think. Yeah, it was non-union, so we got to investigate.
He lost his SAG-AFTRA membership. It was during a strike. I needed the work. Oh my God.
Yeah, there was that guy, and then the big question when you're doing that is like do you have family in law enforcement? Because the defense thinks that if you have
but I played one on TV.
No, but I murdered one on television.
I murdered one of his whole family.
Well,
I played a guy who got startled. Wait, what's with you and the startled, man?
They think. Well, I played a cop. He
Don't
was
wake
very
that
startled.
guy
He got
up if he's
startled.
taking a
He
nap.
put on clown makeup. Jesus Christ! Talk about typecasting.
Yeah, you would think the startle would end before you're done with the whole clown makeup thing. By the time you go for the act, you might have that second thought.
Jesus.
Well, or he was just chopping wood while wearing clown makeup and he
Yeah.
became startled.
Well, gotta murder these 10 people. There's just I don't know what that twig snapping sound was. I have to murder.
There was one guy and they were like, "Oh, do you have because they think that if you have law enforcement in your family, you might show a bias towards the prosecution, and that's usually a good way to get out of it." But the thing is, everybody picks up on this immediately, so everyone is just sharing the most tenuous possible relationships that they have with cops. So people are like, "Oh, my third cousin, who I'm very, very close with, is a police officer," and you're like, "Yeah, bullshit." Anyway, they asked this one guy, they're like, "Oh, do you have any family in law enforcement?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, well, my both my grandfathers were police. My dad was a cop. All my brothers are police, and if I didn't have asthma, I'd be a cop." And I was like, "Oh wow, that's almost worse than being a cop."
And what do you do? I'm a security guard.
No, literally, he goes, "What do I do?" He goes, "Oh, I'm a private security, and I train." He goes, "And I train police officers to get ready for the academy test." I was like, Jesus.
Couldn't he just say he works with law enforcement?
No, he had to tell you exactly.
Why
what he
does
was
everybody
doing.
tell their life story when they go up there?
I'm telling you, it's
wanna
what you
believe-
just
yeah.
said. It's because people just like, if you have anybody in your life who you think is kind of lonely, ask them how they're doing, because otherwise they're going to take up lots of taxpayer dollars in sharing their entire life story.
Yeah.
That's why everybody needs a fucking podcast, really.
Yeah, sure.
I know it'd save a lot of money with the court system.
But the weirdest one guy goes, "Oh, do you have any family in law enforcement?" He goes, "Oh yeah, my brother's a police officer, and I don't think I can be impartial in this case just based on my brother's story." Okay, well, what happened to your brother? He goes, "Well, he was forced to retire last year after 25 years in law enforcement." And they go,
"Oh no!
Well, why? What happened?" And I was thinking, like, "Oh God, he shot somebody.
He shot a kid.
Something
Yeah.
happened." And he goes, "Well, he was eating a sandwich." And I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "Oh God, where's this going?" And he goes, "He was at a restaurant and he was eating a sandwich. He was with two other detectives. They were in plain clothes. He was in his uniform, and a man came in with a machete and chopped off his trigger finger."
What?
I was like, what? And the judge is like,
by the way, not a good cop. If you're eating a sandwich and a man with a machete, like, there's a lot of time between a machete and your finger to get out of the
this guy's
way.
reaction time is real slow. And there's two other cops there. And what the hell did they do?
Well, they were out.
Wow, man, he got that thing clean off.
I also like, he's like, 1 second, sir, like putting his finger
That's
up
what I
to
was
stop him.
thinking. Garcon. Yeah.
Garcon, whoa.
Oh God, there he goes. But I was like,
Well, I guess I already gave a tip.
But I was thinking, where the fuck?
Refill. Jesus.
Oh God. So, can I get some creamer? Ow!
I got a new finger.
I can never be a cop.
But I was like, that's the craziest fucking story I've ever heard. And then the judge goes, "Oh, well, where was this?" And I'm thinking, somewhere like fucked up. And he goes, "Oh, it was Alhambra." And I was like, that's near here.
But couldn't he just, learn to shoot with the other hand?
Yeah, shoot left-handed.
Apparently, you need all your fingers to be an active duty police officer. I found this out later because I
He
thought
couldn't get a desk job.
Well,
or something?
I think he.
That's the loophole that we've been looking for to get the bad cops out. Just get rid of one of their fingers.
Well, that's why you see very few Yakuza members in the police.
But yeah, that's So that's anyway. So if you want to get out of jury duty, just address the gallery.
Yeah.
Just be like,
Or chop your finger
or
off.
chop your finger. Well, that's how you get out of cop
That
duty.
gives a new meaning to getting fingered.
You never saw Jerry Garcia on too many juries.
Well, no, he couldn't be a cop. He could be on a jury if you don't have fingers.
You can.
Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath, never going to be a cop.
Yeah. That's why,
Missing too many fingers.
that's why all the great guitar players are guitar players. They would have been cops. Oh man!
I heard a jury story or a court story that involved a comic that I thought was really funny. It didn't happen to me. I've just heard it over the years. So I think it was somewhere in one of the Carolinas while these three comics were performing, all from out of town. A stabbing occurred at the club, and so then they all got they witnessed it, so they all got subpoenaed and had to come back during the trial. And so
it's like My Cousin Vinny of comedy.
Yeah. So one of the comics is on the stand and they're questioning him and they go, so I understand you were emceeing that night. And he goes, yes, but I usually feature. Just trying to make it clear.
It's like they
A
give
thing that
shit.
no one else gives a shit about, but he's like, no. I mean, yes, that's
Like I was hosting that night, but normally
I'm middle.
Normally I'm doing 25 minutes.
Well, to be fair, this was for the record.
Yeah, for the record, I could do an hour. I could do it if you need it. If you need it.
I got headshots.
I got tape.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, Judge. How are you today? I'm in trouble. Please put me away. A pretty thing took a shine at me. I couldn't stop it, so let it be. I couldn't stop it, so let it be. I couldn't stop it, so let it be. I couldn't stop it, so let it be.
So when I texted goodnight, I was like, hey, we got Travis on the show tomorrow. The first thing I got back immediately was, can we talk about Woody Woodpecker? And I didn't. I still don't know what that means, but I was like, sure. Can we talk about Woody Woodpecker?
I've known Travis a long time.
Yeah.
And it's been a while now because we ain't seen each other in a while, but I knew Travis for years before I knew that Travis worked on Woody Woodpecker.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I wrote we wrote 7-minute segments at a time. So I wrote somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 Woody Woodpecker or Chilly Willy cartoons. I can't remember anymore because it was my job for like 3.5 years, 4 years.
Whoa, and Chilly Willy too.
Yeah.
Well, Chilly Willy was really the money shot.
I tell you what, Andy Panda, Chilly Willy, Wally Gator. I got the whole Walter Lantz back
Inspector
catalog.
Willoughby.
I don't think I wrote him, but I did do a Splinter and Knothead. Those are Woody's fucking cousins because apparently he has some sort of.
They're the Scrappy Doo of the Woody Woodpecker universe.
Yeah. All the characters then used to, like in the comic books and things, have like Huey, Louie, and Dewey Kitty versions of themselves.
Right, yeah.
And Woody Woodpecker had a couple too.
Splinter and Knothead.
Yeah. Oh man, this takes me back.
Splinter. I guess I don't know shit about Woody Woodpecker.
Woody Woodpecker, I've always been amazed by this because Woody Woodpecker once upon a time was a household word.
Yeah.
And then some point after the 80s, it was one of those cartoons they stopped showing on TV.
Yeah.
So now nobody knows who the hell he is. But everybody used to know Woody Woodpecker.
Well, that's all. Yeah.
Now, look, so I wrote the scripts for him. I'm not an animator. I don't draw them. I can't do any of that. And the question that when people found out I did that, the question I got the most was, well, how do you have to write every time? And you go,
No, you just write laughs.
You just write parenthetical, signature laugh, end parenthetical. And that just blew people's mind. They're like, did you get paid for it? I'm like, I had to write other words too. There were other things I had to come up with. It wasn't just me going, signature laugh, check please. You know, it was...
Boy, anybody could do this.
Animation simple, kids.
Let's put Miss Meanie in this episode.
Oh, Miss Meanie. She was the landlady for a while in our reboot. We rebooted it in the 90s for the weirdest reason. I worked at Universal, and Universal had just bought like USA Network or something. And still had a deal with Fox to show Murder, She Wrote for like the end of time. Like it was just going to go on forever.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't want to show. No, Fox had just bought USA from Universal. That's what it was. And because Murder, She Wrote was a Universal show. And they basically was like, we're just going to show this till, Angela Lansbury actually dies.
Yeah.
And Fox said, we want to get out of it. What do we need to do? And they said, well, funny you should ask. We want to reboot Woody Woodpecker as our Mickey Mouse. And this is the time when like Saturday morning cartoons were over. They were either Pokemon or like action adventure stuff. Nobody was watching comedy.
Funny
cartoons
animals.
anymore. That was fuck. It was over.
Yeah.
And so Fox was like, I guess, like, and that's the whole reason I had a job for 4 years. Is that Fox was like, we really don't want Murder, She Wrote. It's the whole reason I had a job.
Have you had a chance to thank Angela Lansbury?
I have not had a chance yet. Not publicly. Every night I kind of write her a little.
Didn't they try to give the show kind of like a John Cristofalucci, like Ren and Stimpy type makeover?
We actually worked with a lot of people from Spumco originally, and then it turns out they're all crazy. They're all insane people. So they were going to bring in John Kay to do it, and then he couldn't, but one of his directors...
What is Spumco?
Spumco
company.
is John Kay's company.
That's Ren and Stimpy?
That's Ren, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And it was going to be super weird and super dark.
Okay.
And then we made that, and then we went, no one's going to watch this. And everyone panicked, and everyone got fired. And I was just a PA on the show.
Yeah.
I was like 24 years old. No, 23 years old.
Yeah.
And they were like, God, we have to fire everybody, and we need a writer. And I'm like... I could write a cartoon.
Yeah.
Never written a cartoon. Didn't go to school for writing. Nothing.
Yeah.
I was just like, I could write a...
I can write over and
I was
over.
like, it's just signature laugh?
Yeah.
Fucking no problem.
Yeah, I got this.
So they
don't need no schooling for signature laugh.
I mean, how hard is it to write Woody Woodpecker, though? Person comes up to tree, Woody pecks him on the head.
There's a little
laugh.
bit of skill, Mr. Goodnight. How dare you?
But there's a certain arc to Woody Woodpecker.
If you watch the episode, the oeuvre of my work, there's an overall reaching arc of Woody really longing to find who he is in the world.
Who is he? Since Joe wrote him, did you find out who is he?
They gave us they wanted him to be, this was such a weird thing, because keep in mind, this is basically for children.
Yeah.
They wanted him to be like Ferris Bueller, like just didn't give a care, just wanted to relax and do nothing. And we had to tell them, like, it's hard to write a character that doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he wakes up and, okay, what's his adventure going to be? Well, he doesn't want to do anything. So he stays at home. So things have to happen to him. And, it becomes, becomes difficult.
Oh, so he's a guy who lives in a tree, and then problems come to the tree.
Problems come to the tree.
That was usually what happened in an old school with a Woodpecker one. It was usually somebody wanted to chop down the tree or something like that.
Yeah.
Peck him on the head, signature laugh,
Now look,
5 or 6 gags.
Here's the thing. We were not allowed to peck people on the head because that was an imitatable act, and that everybody was super obsessed with making sure it wasn't something that children could do. And I went, children don't have beaks. Children don't have beaks.
They're going to smash their face into another kid's face.
Yeah. So they're like, you could peck them on the shoulder, but you can't peck them on the head. And I went, what?
Wait, hold on. And this is for the USA Network?
No, this was going to be for Fox Kids.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, if this is for the USA Network, this is a time in which Mick Foley is on fire, jumping off of cages and through barbed wire and shit. And they're like, don't
They should have done that, man. Extreme Woody.
Yeah.
Oh,
ECW, Extreme Championship Woody.
Thursday night. I'm going to be there, boy.
That's a fucking...
Woody 316 says I just pecked your ass.
Oh, yeah, the macho pecker here.
I like that he was Mexican for a second.
Pecker.
Can you smell what Woody's cooking?
We're going to have to insert this. You told me there was a sound effect. They still use the old Mel Blanc laugh.
That's what we based it on. Our fucking voice cast was unbelievable. It was Billy West.
Oh, he's the king. The voice king.
He was Woody and Wally. So he would have to often
Wally Gator.
No, Wally Walrus, the main.
Oh, Wally
foil.
Walrus.
Yeah.
Why was he Swedish? I never understood
We have no
that.
idea, but we made him say fjord 1,000 times an episode because it just made us laugh. You know.
By the way, if people listening don't know, Billy West is the voice of Ren and Stimpy, Doug, Fry from Futurama.
Yeah,
he's a very prolific voice actor.
Probably the most.
He's he's every other character on Futurama. He's
Zoidberg, that's
he's
right.
the professor. He's Fry. He's just about everybody.
Yeah. So if you don't know Billy West, go check his check out his IMDb. It's
Between Billy West and Hank Azaria, it's most of animation.
and
Like
John DiMaggio.
Yeah, right.
It used to be Frank Welker, and remember, do you ever meet Jim Cummings?
Yes, I did. Yeah,
Was he a cool dude?
he was cool. There was a lot of guys that I would see. So I started kind of getting industrious, and I was like, here's a part I should play, and I would write parts for myself.
Yeah.
And so I got to go voice act with these guys. I got to voice act with
Wow.
Billy West and Mark Hamill.
Oh shit!
And, like,
Mark Hamill was doing it
Mark
too.
Hamill was Buzz
Buzz Buzzard?
Buzz Buzzard. Yeah, he was Buzz Buzzard.
Oh my gosh! There it is! What can I say? It's you, it's you, it's you! Just sign right here. I just wanna make you happy.
Wow, man.
Yeah, and I knew a lot about Mark and knew his, like, you know, what he could do. So it was like, I know he does a really good Harrison and Ford impersonation.
Yeah.
So we wrote this badger that talked like Harrison Ford, and all he would say is, "Hiya, buddy."
Although there's some folk who stick to the old standby, so bargaining.
Hiya, buddy.
Oh, bargaining.
We'd have Mark Hamill do all of these weird throwaway impressions that we knew we could do.
Wow.
And so I remember I like wrote this weird part for myself, and I like, I don't know, did the line read. I was like super nervous because it was unlike a lot of recordings I've been to. They recorded everyone in the same room, which is usually how they do like a show, but it's not how they do the big movies.
Yeah,
usually
yeah.
it's like an individual session.
Right.
So we're all there and just waiting to go. And I like did my line, and Mark goes, "Oh, I love the way you did it the first time." He goes, "I'm sorry, I never give direction." I'm like, "You're Mark Hamill. You could tell me to fucking shit myself. I'll do it."
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience that, you know, being a 23-year-old kind of like angry, weird kid, I was like, this is great. This
Yeah.
is the best thing that could happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
So I'm in like 2 episodes playing like this guy called Sid Big who talked like this.
Wait, Sid?
Sid Big.
Oh, Sid Big.
He was a Hollywood producer.
That's a fucking great voice. I love that.
Yeah, but we wrote 4 seasons of it. Only one of it aired in America. It became like huge overseas.
Just about to say.
Yeah,
it's the Hasselhoff of animated
right.
shows.
It became big like in Europe and like Italy and
Those older type cartoon characters are still big there. That's why like Uncle Scrooge and Disney stuff is really big there.
So I hadn't thought about this in years, and I think it was like last summer. I was like, I'm gonna Google. I don't even know. I don't own any of these things on video or anywhere. I don't think ever on releases. So I Googled it, and like I found an episode I wrote that's in Russian. Like they've translated it and redubbed it, and it's this Russian Woody Woodpecker episode.
Wow. But they lose the nuances
They
of the
sure
Harrison
did.
Ford
Yeah.
imitation.
Dos Vidania. You're like, no, that's not what he said.
This blew my mind because I remember this damn thing because I saw it at like 6 in the morning or wherever the fuck it was on TV. And I was just like, man, they're trying to bring Woody Woodpecker back like a Spemco thing. That is desperate.
Yeah.
And then years later, somebody I'd already known for quite a while had worked on this thing and had damn stories about it that were more interested in the show
Yeah,
itself.
it's true. I actually was a reference for a Miss Meanie pose at one point.
Really?
One of the artists was like, "How would you stand with your arms crossed?" And so there's like this famous Miss Meanie pose that was going around, and it was like, that's how I stood with my arms crossed, so that's how he drew her. And then for a while there was like a couple of memes of like artwork that had gotten either repurposed from the show going around. Like there's one where he's like super haggard, like he just woken up, and Woody's holding a cup of coffee that's shaped like his face, and he's wearing a pair of slippers shaped like his face. And I was like, I remember the sketch of that. I remember before it was even colored.
Yeah.
I remember I was still a PA at the time. I had to hand that artwork over to the art director and hand in that piece of work. And now people are using it like, oh, Mondays, right? Or whatever the fuck people are using.
So this was
online.
this was a hand-drawn show. This was before
way before.
the amount of work that goes into traditional animation like that is a lot.
Did they do it here or did they do it in Korea?
We all did it in Korea, and it was all. I believe it was all cell animation still back then. But it was the weirdest process. Everything was drawn here in the States in terms of the turnarounds of the character, what they look like.
in-betweens that they do overseas.
So they do model packs of like, here's what the character looks like. Here's the character after something's blown up. Here's a new character you've never seen before. Here's the storyboard of how everything gets to, and then they send it overseas with exposure sheets, which tell you this is how long somebody laughs. This is how long somebody falls down. It's really complicated. And not to pat myself on the back, but writing animation, at least the way that I learned it, is really hard because you're not just going and they fight, which is what you'll see like in a live action script. You almost are directing it. You have to call what the shot is, what the action is, or at least give enough that when you hand it off to a storyboard artist, there's room for them to draw it. And
it's all very strict about timing, isn't it?
It's really, really strict. Yeah.
The sound and everything comes first, right? And then you put the cartoon around it.
I think is it called the radio play? Right? Or
I mean that's what we call it when you take all the
when everybody you put together the soundtrack first and then you animate. Okay.
And the recording sessions were amazing because you'd get to go to see all of these fucking, and then every now and then like someone like Chuck McCain would come in, who's like a guy who's been
he's been forever.
Yeah, he was like the Thing in the original
the Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
he was I think the Cuckoo Bird originally for Cocoa Puffs.
You'd see these people who'd been doing Hanna-Barbera cartoons in the 70s, back when the Gary Coleman show was a fucking animated show. Gary Coleman had his own show where he was an angel who came to Earth, and Hornswoggle, which is just the devil, was trying to stop him.
What?
Yeah.
I remember that shit. I always thought it was weird because it was like he was dead on Saturday morning.
Dead. He was he was like, they didn't even address it. It was just like this young boy he died. You watch him die in the opening credits, and then he becomes an angel, and he goes around and he like causes a lot of mischief, kind of like he did on Different Strokes, but he had like a halo that he'd throw around. And then Hornswoggle, who was just the devil in a trench coat, would try and stop him from whatever plans they were doing. And that was the same voice director that we had for our show, because you end up going like, what did you work on? And you could go look it up and
what
watch
was his
it.
name?
Her name was Jenny McSwain. She was amazing. I think she still does voice directing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you name any other like voice actors that you met on that?
Oh gosh, I can't think of his name right now. He's a huge guy. He's like an enormous. He's almost like every monster that goes like it has to make that noise. He's the guy that you go to for that. But we had like a pretty small cast because everybody was like double and triple cast. So it was mostly Billy West. Julie Brown was Winnie Woodpecker.
Wait, which Julie Brown? Downtown Julie
Not
Brown
downtown.
or the other Julie Brown?
The funny Julie Brown.
Okay, gotcha.
She was.
Is Winnie Woody's girlfriend or something?
It's just a girl he knows. It's a weird. There was like not a lot.
They wanted to put in something for girls, but they didn't want to make it like a romantic thing.
Right. So the way we would structure a show is it was 3 cartoons. It was a Woody, something in the middle, and a Woody. So something in the middle would be Chilly Willy or Winnie or Splinter and Knothead, or I think we did an Andy Panda, which was just a weird. It's literally just a panda Walter Lantz drew and then died. I don't think it ever.
Andy Panda was actually Woody Woodpecker, I believe, first appeared in an Andy Panda cartoon.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Andy Panda had a dad who talked like what's his name? The old comedian W.C. Fields. As well. And he was the funniest part of Andy Panda cartoons, was Andy Panda's dad. But Andy Panda was Walter Lantz's big character before Woody Woodpecker.
Wow, I didn't know that. Because once we were going,
I have the Woody Woodpecker DVD. That's how
amazing.
I know this.
There was at one point where we were trying to develop an Andy Panda series. They were like, okay. It was just literally like,
well, Woody didn't work. Let's try something more obscure.
It was literally just, here's what we own the rights to. What can we make with this?
Yeah.
And it was like, well, I don't know anything about Andy Panda. And we had to do like Q&As online. It's like when online, write in, kids, and so we had to be
right into our prodigy.
Yeah, so we had to like get answers. We had to have like canned answers for things, and then one of the fucking PAs was like, "When's Andy Panda going to make another appearance?" We're like, "Get Nick off the computer."
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a weird time, and it was a weird.
It's so funny too that you're taking these like these once well-known characters and nobody gives a shit about it.
No
And
one-
we're
yeah.
trying to get them back out there.
But we just started doing things that made us laugh. That was what was fun about it. We ended up inventing a character called Dr. Doug Nuts, which was just a Don Knotts impersonation because we knew that Billy West did this really good Don Knotts. So anytime Woody had to go to the doctor, he went to Dr. Doug Nuts, and it was like, well, and he would just
Well, Woody, I'm on the table right now.
It was
Where's my stethoscope?
one stethoscope, and he would like put it down on the table. It was. And it was like right when Pleasantville came out, so Don Knotts was having a moment in the sun again.
Oh, yeah,
after
yeah.
kind of like not being around for a bit.
You almost said Doug Nuts.
Dr. Doug Nuts.
Doug Nuts was shining bright.
Yeah, we got to the point where we're like, I think we could get sued.
Hey, actually, I've got a couple of Woody Woodpecker questions for you involving suing, which you may not know. One, you know the famous hot rod thing with Woody Woodpecker smoking a cigar?
They would call us all the time when we were PAs, and like somebody would be building a new engine, and they'd want the rights to put that on the engine, and we go, like, I file paperwork. I have no idea what to tell you, what to do about your engine.
Okay, so you don't have to go through Universal to do that, or do they think that they do?
But for whatever reason, instead of putting it to the legal department, they're funneling this call from Australia to a couple of fucking 20-year-old kids. Listen, mate, I got a car that I want to put Woody Woodpecker on. I want to know if I could have clearance. Sure, go for it. I don't care.
And there's also, if y'all go to the supermarket to get ice, you notice a lot of times they use Chili Willy as the logo.
Yeah, he's a big ice guy.
Is that licensed?
Yeah, he is. You know, it's him and Ice-T and Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Well, he's a penguin is what he is.
Yeah.
He was, I thought, better than Woody Woodpecker.
But he didn't talk.
But he had Smedley the dog, and he did all the talking.
Which I think was also Billy West, if I remember correctly.
It was originally Dallas Butler. Did he imitate that voice?
I think so. Yeah, it's funny the arc of the voices of Woody Woodpecker, where Mel Blanc did the very very original. Then it was like Walter Lance's wife for like 20
long
years.
time. Yeah. What the hell was her name?
Winnie Woodpecker. I don't know. I can't remember. And then Billy West,
Grace Stafford. I think that might have been.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But I remember this one Chili Willy one. This is when working in animation just gets to be so bizarre. There was a thing where Chili just wanted to be warm because he's cold. He's
chilling.
So he went to go live in a polar bear's stomach. I didn't write this one. This was one that just existed.
That is such a Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah. So he just
thing.
decided that he was going to go live in a polar bear's stomach. So I had to there was these immaculate paintings of like a mid-century modern apartment, but it was the stomach of a polar bear. And so you would have to get, anytime there was a real background, the background would actually be painted.
Yeah.
It was a real painting. It would be about, I don't know, 8x10, but sideways.
Yeah.
So I'd have to take this like amazing stomach artwork and take it into offices and, be like, well, here's the one version of the stomach. And here's and we did that rubber stamp look that was famous by, who did all the Tom and Jerry's? The famous Tom.
Tex Avery?
Tex Avery. That rubber stamp look where it's like all the outlines are like the colors are slightly moved away from the outline.
That's what that's called. That was big in like UPA or something.
Yeah.
And the later Tex Avery when he's with Butch. Remember Butch, the Irish? I tried to murder you, kill you, so that all the gold would be mine. the fucking bulldog had Irish accent for no reason.
Well, we decided that Woody Woodpecker was Scottish, and we invented his father, who was a golf player. Just for no other reason, because it was like it just made us laugh, and Woody's dad had a weird laugh. We'd go, and they were all part of the McPacker clan. Which they were
the McPacker.
Y'all guys you got Dr. Doug Nuts and Mac Pepper. I'm kind of surprised people haven't rediscovered this shit with all the jokes y'all put in it.
This is where, people that don't live in LA find out they're like, oh, no one in Hollywood knows what they're doing.
No one.
Like, they're just like, oh, you guys are young and funny. Here's some money.
Yeah.
Do whatever. And they come back with Doug Nuts and McPacker.
And like for a while, we were PAs and writers at the same time. So we would have to be like, okay, let's not make too many props in this episode because
That's more work for us. Yeah.
And then they would take us to this place on the lot called the Grill. It's where the executives ate. And
Yeah.
they're like, you boys go to the Grill, order whatever you want, and come. And we'd sit there with the producer, and we'd be like, well, what if there was a doctor named Doug Nuts? We love it.
That's the Woody Woodpecker song. He's a pecking it all day long.
He pecks a few holes in a tree to see if a redwood's really red.
And it's nothing to him on the tiniest whim to peck a few holes in your head.
That's the Woody Woodpecker song.
How close are you to getting into that Club 33?
Club 33, if for those who don't know, is the not that secret but secret dinner club of Disneyland.
Yeah, this is Travis's never-ending quest.
Are they biased towards you because y'all have worked for Woody and Universal? Is there
you
like
might be on a
feud?
shit list. Yeah.
Well, but I got a few aces in the hole when it comes to Disney.
Yeah.
I went last year. I got in as a guest last year.
Oh, so you did get to
I've
go.
been in. I want to
okay.
become a member.
Right,
really
right.
bad is what I wanted. And it's I spent 20 years trying to get inside this super secret supper club. It was one of the last things that Walt had to do with the park, but he never saw it finished because he he had his head cut off and frozen.
Yeah, I was about to say,
and buried under the Sleeping Beauty's castle, which is apparently not true. He's just in Forest Lawn.
Yeah, he's like weird. It's weird. He's like behind like a bush. Like he's kind of hard to find. It's weird. It's weird how hard he is to find in Forest Lawn, but I found him.
All right, I got to go check that out. I haven't seen it. Incidentally, if you ever go to Disneyland, right when you walk by the firehouse, right above it is a window. That was Walt's apartment. It's about a 500 square foot apartment. There's always a lamp on to signify that Walt's presence is still in the park.
Okay,
just
wow.
a fun little fact.
Nice.
If you ever want to go to Disneyland, I can bore you with a lot of stuff about Disneyland.
Walt used to walk around just disguised as a tourist.
I'd heard that, but he also too just kind of wanted to live there at one point. Like there's an area right above Pirates of the Caribbean, which is right by Club 33. It's now called the Dream Suite, and it's also part of it's now called 21 Royal, which is a $15,000 a night dinner club.
Jesus,
it's expensive. That was going to be his 2,000 square foot residence. And I've been inside it. There's a lot of really pretty apartments and it's nice, but it's inside the park. Walt's life was very strange. Walt's whole idea of the park was, I like that. I'm going to build it here so I don't have to go there. That's why there's Rivers of America. He wanted to travel the Rivers of America with an old college buddy of his. The college buddy ended up not wanting to do it. So he was like, well, fine, I'm just going to build the Rivers of America in my park. Then he went to New Orleans and was like, New Orleans is cool. I like jazz. We're going to build a New Orleans square inside the park so they don't have to go anywhere. And that's why.
So laziness was the mother of all this stuff.
Sure.
He's like Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to do anything.
really want to do anything. He wanted it to happen to him.
Bring the shit to the tree.
Yeah.
I'll move the Eiffel Tower here.
So I got to go to Club 33, which is in New Orleans Square. And it's everything I wanted it to be in terms of it's like being on the Titanic. In terms of fanciness.
Okay.
Not in terms of
it's
also a lot of people freeze to death. But 2 weeks ago, I went to Disneyland and I got food poisoning, and I may never go back. I'm honestly.
Oh wow.
I don't even know if I want a Club 33 membership anymore.
Oh man.
I ate this food.
Was it the turkey leg? Was the giant
wasn't.
turkey leg?
Guacamole involved?
It was wicked veggie wrap from the Galactic Grill in Tomorrowland.
Well, there's your problem right there.
There's your problem right there.
Got to get fried, my friend.
I couldn't eat for close to a week.
Jesus.
Everything was coming out.
Yeah.
And I'm an annual pass holder. I have been for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And I was telling my wife, I was like, I don't think I ever want to go back. And
Oh
she's
my
like,
God.
She's like, but we have annual passes. And I was like, They tried to kill me.
Goddamn mouse tried to kill me.
And it's also too like food is such a big part of Disneyland. There's so many smells and things to eat that I'm thinking about just walking down Main Street and the way it smells, I feel sick just thinking about it.
I have to admit, I know how you feel because you remember we were talking about Costco earlier.
Yeah.
You remember I said we used to go every day until I got food poisoning.
And you're out,
now
right?
I don't never want to go to Costco again. And whenever I go home, my aunt wants me to eat there.
Yeah, February 14th, 1994. It's the last time I ever had Applebee's.
What did that? What? Show me on the doll. Will Applebee's hurt
oh
you?
my God. I remember the commercial for the thing I ate. It was Pasta Fest or whatever, and they had.
That sounds bad already.
Well, they had a commercial on TV where it was like a big fat Italian guy going, "Pass the pasta, pass the pasta, pass the pasta, please." And they were like, "Pasta." They're like,
I love that you're like, well, that's where I gotta go.
Yeah. Well, no, I literally, it was like Pasta Fest this weekend, and I'm doing Guy Fieri again. At Applebee's, and it was I was with my grandparents. It was Valentine's Day, and my grandparents were like, "Oh, we'll take you out for dinner anywhere you want." And I was like, "Pass the pasta, pass the pasta, pass the pasta." I was super into this idea, and one of the pasta specials was it was fried ravioli, fried cheese sticks, and pepperoni. It was basically like bougie pizza rolls, basically.
Totino's pizza roll?
Yeah. And
bougie, Applebee's, the bougie place.
I know. I never thought of Totino's as bougie. These are better than Geno's. I mean, what is that?
Well, no. I'm saying Applebee's version was like
the fancy one, like the ones you get at a Haitian wedding or something like that.
What?
They have all kinds of good fried stuff. That's like things that are like fancy, basically fancy Totino's.
Yeah,
and those
Totino's Haitian wedding is my favorite flavor.
Yeah, it's awesome. And those meat pie Jamaican kind of things that are better than ones you can get at the 7-Eleven sometimes. You know what I'm talking about? Meat pie.
Yeah.
Spicy Jamaican thing. It's like those things you get in the dollar store that say it's just like breading with a lot of meat in it, spicy meat. Almost like a samosa. Is that something?
Like a samosa, but with meat instead of crushed peas and stuff.
Yeah.
Jamaican me samosa.
I know, Jamaican me confused because I don't know the names of any kind of food.
Jamaican me empanadas.
But anyway, back to pasta.
Oh, there's not much more to the story. I had all of that, just ate it as quickly as I could, and then just
got food poisoning.
Just a couple of days of misery. So I still have never stepped foot in an Applebee's since.
Applebee's is Crapplebee's, and I got sick there once, but I eventually went back, not for the food, but because they had a bar and you could watch sports on the TV.
Oh, I've talked about this on here before, that certain Applebee's locations do turn into a Club Apple at night.
What?
Yeah, so in like places where there's no bar, the Applebee's has a thing called Club Apple where they turn over to like a late night menu, and then they have like drink specials and stuff like that. And
Club Apple was the best they could come up with?
Apparently, yeah. And I was at a wedding in Marietta, and there was an Applebee's in the parking lot of our motel, and I went and did stand up, but the rest of the wedding party all got shit faced at the Club Apple in the parking lot.
Well, now I want to go to a Club Apple.
I was going to say, sounds like we got a date in Downey, boys.
Yeah. You put a 33 on the end of that, I'm on board. Club Apple 33. Holy shit!
Inland Empire, here we come.
Man, what happens at Club Apple, though, stays at Club Apple.
Unless you eat the food, then it comes out.
I don't think I can go back to Club Apple.
Stay away from the pasta.
Don't pass the pasta.
Pass the pasta, please.
Please don't pass it.
Do not.
Here's the thing. If y'all see pizza or pasta, anything like that, anything Italian food, and you go in a place and there's no Italians in there, leave right away.
Yeah.
Also, too, it's not like Applebee's. It's like it's Applebee's. Why am I going here for?
Yeah.
It's burgers and fries and chicken wings. Like that's Applebee's, right?
Yeah.
And pasta.
And
apparently.
pasta.
And you fell for it, Rivers, because of that wonderful jingle based on Tarantella Neapolitana.
Yeah, it's just a catchy commercial. We catch you every time.
They're like, it works. Kids are flocking here. Kids are dropping like flies, but they're flocking here.
Well, soon we'll kill all the children.
I know. After you ate it, you're like, I just want to pass the pasta. I just want to pass it.
You're sitting on the toilet singing it. Pass the pasta.
Although, you know, there is one guy who really likes it who's like, waiter, and then his finger gets cut off.
I could never be a cop. To all my dreams.
Travis, where can people find you on the internet, sir?
You can find me at Mr. Travis Clark, at Mr. Travis Clark on Twitter and Instagram.
Are you guys still doing TOC?
Tiny Odd Conversations has been in a rather it exists. You can listen to all 201 episodes that we've done.
Yeah.
But we have not done a new episode in a little over a year.
Oh, okay.
I plan on doing kind
Is
of
this a Tiny Odd sabbatical or something?
It's a Tiny Odd pause. We're taking.
But there's a whole mess of them out
There's a
there.
bunch of them.
It's one of my favorites too.
Oh, thanks.
You and Travis and his wife Brandy do a once in future great podcast called Tiny Odd Conversations that you can find on iTunes.
Yeah, tocpod.com is our website, and it's also on iTunes and Stitcher, and we're available where fine podcasts are downloaded near you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thanks for having me on. It was so good to see you guys. Let's not wait another 3 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll have to do this again very soon. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/TheGoodsPod. We're on Twitter @TheGoodsPod. Big shout out to our friend Richard Eden, our webmaster up there, doing the hard work in the North Pole, getting TheGoodsPod.com up and running soon.
Getting it going, doing a better job than Santa Claus, just living up there with Chili Willy and Smedley the dog and all them other freezing people up in Arctic.
And Mr. Goodnight, what should people do when they get to iTunes?
They should rate, review, and subscribe, because if you rate, review, and subscribe, you give it 5 stars, General of the Army like Omar and Bradley. That shows an attitude of gratitude. And for some people, the attitude of gratitude is all that you need. But for people who don't have the attitude of gratitude, well, then fuck you, brother.
So, Song of the Week this week. This is a band that we actually got to see at the Boogie. I think this was the band that was playing right when you walked up. God damn, they were like my favorite band the whole time. They're from Brooklyn. They're called Revel in Dimes. This is off of their record, Revel in Dimes, and the song's called Lightning. We'll see you next week.
Signature laugh.
Well, it's been a long
Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter at The Goods Pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter at DJ Smiles.